Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I made Ice Crash a good skill again. That's something you probably haven't heard in a while. I think the last time that this was playable was the Hollow Palm version where you're unarmed and have no gloves and you stack dexterity, and it was extremely squishy and didn't pull numbers versus what you were sacrificing, just kind of generally didn't feel very great. Can confirm Rakiata's dance has changed the story on Ice Crash. If you don't know, Rakiata's dance is a sword that treats enemy elemental resistances as inverted. It also comes with a decent amount of flat fizz and flat cold, so it is a pretty good weapon for melee skills in particular, and that paired with Totem synergy as well as Blood Rage Berserk, you can dish out about 300 million damage on Ice Crash. That being said, Ice Crash comes with its own flaws as per usual. It is a skill with a massive AoE, but also has really rough clear, doesn't strike additional targets, so it's like kind of a weird skill. It's got a delayed impact, so it is a weird skill. But if you enjoy playing Ice Crash and you want to relive the moments of when Ice Crash used to be good, well, then I've got a showcase for you. I do want to preface that whenever I make a showcase on my channel, a lot goes into it. I'm trying to reach very high heights that isn't achievable very easily. That's why all my builds are very premium and mirrors go into it, and it's not for the casual player to try. So keep that in mind. Also, I don't have a roadmap for how I build up to this build. It would take me a lot of time to do that. So I don't have any kind of roadmap or budget variations. This is just how good can I make Ice Crash? Okay, this is what I've got for you. So with that being said, let's kind of dive into it. So the whole point of this build, and the reason that it's working in this league, is Rakiata's dance is allowing us to basically double our damage because we're treating enemy resistances as inverted. And when you have a 300% or even 350% scaling on the skill, you can scale your flat fizz with increased cold, and since the skill converts the fizz to cold for you, it's very easy to scale the skill once you get some multipliers under your belt. So this build uses the Slayer class or on the Duelist, and uses some Culling Strike as well as Max Frenzy and Max Endurance Charge stacking in order to pull its weight and damage as well as increase its attack speed. Past that, it's basically we're using Blood Rage and Ancestral Protector to up our attack speed to the moon, and using some Rage stacking for external DPS increases. On average, this build is dealing about 120 million DPS with no buffs, and then with buffs it gets up to about 300 million, and you can expect to see that when going into a boss fight. I also want to say that the content that you're seeing on the screen is with the wrong Mageblood enchantment. I could not get increased accuracy while you have Onslaught, but it does add a 4% hit chance, bringing your hit chance from a 93 to a 97%. And then you can increase that even further by swapping out Rakiata's dance's corrupted implicit of increased attack speed with the regular implicit, which is increased global accuracy rating, which should get you to 100% if that bugs you. And to be honest, after testing it, I would probably go to a standard Rakiata's dance, as the 100% hit chance actually really does matter when your skill has multi-strike and also crashes 3 times. You want to make sure that those reverberations and everything is hitting. So yeah, mischance is pretty brutal. You don't really want mischance on a skill like this. We are not running a 6-link on this build. We're actually using a special helmet, a Blizzard Crown, double influenced with attack crit, hypothermia concentrated effect, and skills deal more damage, as well as some plus AoE to the AoE gems, and crafted on max life. This crown, paired with Ice Crash with multi-strike, elemental damage with attacks, and endurance charge on melee stun, is providing us with a ton of extra damage that a 6th link wasn't able to get us. We're then using a replica Feral's Fur as well to get our endurance and frenzy charge is all the way to max all the time. And then we're taking on the tree. We've got a very juiced up Lethal Pride for double damage, as well as we got percent chance for triple damage. And then we're taking the frenzy endurance charge little cluster down at the bottom, as well as Panopticon. Since we can't get over to frenetic, we're allocating that on our amulet. And that's about it for the tree. Besides that, we have one reservation cluster jewel, and then the rest is just large cluster jewels, crit jewels. We have Storm Shroud for evasion, for avoidance on ailments, and then we have a double hatred Watcher's Eye. The crit chance is the important part on the Watcher's Eye, and because of the new tattoos and the way we have pathed, we can easily get +1 max frenzy on our tree. Apart from that, we're using the Mirror Tier ring in TFT, which is just the flat gold frenzy stacker ring, which people are using in Flicker Strike. It's got plenty of resell value. We're using it because it gives us a ton of extra flat damage that we can then scale. We're then using an Ashes for more reservation, as well as level of all skill, and the quality is actually very important on the Ashes because we get to buff our Blood Rage and our Berserk and our War Chief with the quality increase, which is very important because of how much added attack speed and damage it's giving us. And then we also have the enhances in the link setup as well, which is just giving us a ton of extra added damage. And then we're running a Mage Blood with some chance to avoid being shocked, flask, reduce mana cost, additional elemental resistances, and attack speed. And then we have a Progenesis Flask, which can be replaced when clearing in maps. You want to be using an Oriath's End for the Explode. Can help with clearing because the clearing is undesirable, to say the least, on this build. We're then running Darkrai Vectors because it's best in slot for a Max Frenzy stacker, and some triple crit jewels, and that's about it. That's the whole build. We're then leap slamming around, which you're probably seeing, and then we're stacking 5 auras. Actually we're running 6 auras. We have Blood and Sand, Herald of Ice, Precision, Skitterbots, Determination, Hatred. Then we have 5 of those 6 skills on an Enlighten on our body armor, since we don't need to put Ice Crash into 6 link. And then we're also using the Enhanced Tech with Mark, Assassin's Mark, Mark on Hit, Blood Rage, Berserk, and Inspiration. Inspiration drops our mana cost. Enhance increases our quality, which increases our damage. That's basically the tech. This thing is insanely good at bossing, I've noticed, because Headsman is insanely powerful. And then we also get the Culling Strike, Permanent Culling Strike, which is just insane, especially on Slayer, because their Culling Strike is actually stronger than a normal Culling Strike. Kill enemies at 20% or lower life when hit with your skills. And then we also have increased attack speed when hitting a unique enemy. So yeah, very powerful for bossing. We also have increased damage with hits and ailments against unique enemies. And then we have increased base crit chance of 8%, which is just insane amounts of crit, as well as extra crit multi per nearby enemy, which is not that important. The main part is that we're getting crazy base crit off of that. And then we have the max frenzy, and your max endurance are equal to your max frenzy charges. So we only have to stack frenzy to get max on both. This is why we use replica Feral's Fur instead of regular, because we want to get max endurance charges alongside our frenzy charges instead of power charges. We have a pair of gloves with max frenzy as well as aspect of the cat. The aspect of the cat is giving us all of our max frenzy charges. We're then using a tech of putting less duration in the gloves, unlinked to anything. So it's in a socket by itself in the gloves. It allows aspect of the cat to have half the duration, meaning our endurance and frenzy charges have full uptime. And then we have Intimidate on hit as well for that added damage there. So I will say that all in all, I had a lot of fun building this in POB. I had a lot of fun testing it in game. I do think that it's good for bossing. I do think that it's awful for clearing. This is not a build I would suggest people play, but it is very good. And yeah, I guess that's about all I wanted to say. Just wanted to showcase this build, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right, see you later.